Hey, welcome to Boxing Fans Talk TV. I'm your host, TDT. You can refer to me as Miss T. Y'all see the thumbnail up there? Is Errol Spence Jr. really fundamentally sound, or is he receiving a backhanded compliment? You guys tell me. I think he is. We know at the top of my hour, I always do water check. But I'm not going to go in depth on the water check. Just to tell you guys, drink up your water. It's good for you. It's a life sustainer. And in 2023 and beyond, nobody should suffer from dehydration. We're going to kill that. Everybody, let's drink our water. Please hit the like, share, and subscribe button if you haven't already. If you've already hit the subscribe button, don't touch that dial. I got you. You locked in. Y'all see my email at the top, boxingfanstalk@gmail.com, boxingfanstalk@gmail.com. And I usually do come on Monday through Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But if I have something to do, I can't come on. I just stopped working, y'all. I've been working all day, today, yesterday. One day I get in and I'll tell you guys about what I'm actually doing, but it's a lot. So before I just lay it down, because I got a feeling, once I lay down, I'm going to sleep all day. I see some people up late, like me. DJ, what's poppin', King? DJ in the building. Salute, Miss T. We're finally here. It's fight day. Yes, we are. But this is not going to be the typical show. This is just a short. Because I was working and I didn't get a chance to do a couple of shows, I just figured I'd come in and talk about one little area I did want to mention. So, y'all hold on to y'all seats. Okay. So, I decided to do this live because I'm up, like I said, and probably anxious to see the fight and can't sleep right now. I just finished working about 15 minutes ago. I tried to lay down and nothing happened. So I said, why don't I just get up and go do a live? So that's what I'm doing. But I came to you tonight because I wanted to address something, which is funny. I find it comical a little bit, but it got to be said. And I said, do I wait till after the fight to say this, or do I just go ahead and say this right now? So I said, you know what? It's better that I say it right now. Because no matter what happens tomorrow night, if Spence wins, anything I will say will sound like excuses. Anything. If Bud wins, we going to feel like anything Spence fans going to say like excuses. So sometimes you just want to get something out before the deed is done, if you know what I mean. You feel me, DJ? Because it's going to be like that. Like, win, lose, or draw, it's just a fight. In the end of the day, that's how I feel. Would I be disappointed? Yeah. And guess what? If Earl wins, I guess I got to take my medicine. And I will. But anywho, let me get on to what I want to address. And I want to address this notion that Errol Spence Jr. is fundamentally sound as a fighter. And I say that before everybody jump on me. Think about it. Is he fundamentally sound as a fighter? And a lot of people, especially his fans, will probably say yes, real quick, like yes, that's the answer. And I don't expect no other answer from them. But you don't know where I'm going with this. So I ask again, is he fundamentally sound? Now, I know we here now because that's what Bud Crawford said. I think Spence might have said that before. That might be a great name to call that fight. We here now, and it really don't matter because nothing I say is going to change nothing. I know we here now, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think boxing fans in general, especially Bud fans, let Errol fans have that talking point because, for a lack of better description, of their guy as a boxer. They let him have it. I know for me, when I'm sitting here hearing that a Errol fan go to that famous, we all know he's fundamentally sound. I be like, they don't know other words to use to describe him. They don't know how to put him in a good light, in a better way than just saying he's fundamentally sound. And I'm going to show you why that is a backhanded compliment. Because that's what my thumbnail say. Is Errol Spence Jr. really fundamentally sound? Or is he receiving a backhanded compliment? But I'm going to show you why. Errol, at this point in the game, he can't be changed. Nothing I say here is going to move the needle on this fight, derail it, or anything. He can't be changed. So let me delve deep into it. I'm not giving Terence Crawford a leg up. I'm actually probably going to help them do a better job of describing their guy. And I can do this with a straight face and with all the confidence. As you guys know, I'm Team Bud over here. I have every, and I do mean every, confidence that Bud is going to win this fight. But I don't need hyperbole. I don't need gamemanship. I don't need to do any of that stuff to put my guy in a better light or to explain anything about him. You know, like a lot of Errol fans do. And some of them are not bad. Because I have great friends who are Errol fans. Don't understand why, but I respect your choice to pick the guy you like, as I hope you respect mine. Now, before I move forward, I do want to explain what I mean as the backhanded compliment, because I think that deserves to be explained. Now, every different part of the United States, we have things that we adhere to culturally, the way we speak, the way we talk to others, the things we say and what they actually mean. A backhanded compliment is when somebody don't have or a lack of better words to choose, or they're not as descriptive, or maybe they're not in the know of, something. For instance, I'm gonna give you an example, and bear with me with my example. It's the one I thought of, or it just come to mind. You guys ever have children? Remember when you had babies? My babies are grown. All my children, they grown. So I don't have babies, but when I was having babies, it seemed like everybody that was in my peer group was having babies too, right? So of course, as a mother, I think my baby is gorgeous. All that and a bag of chips, right? That's what I think. That's what I'm supposed to think as a mother. But that don't mean that that's how everybody see your kid. Full disclosure, that's how people saw my kid, though. But anywho, let me move on. So, if somebody comes up to you, and this is something this girl taught me way back then, because it was never something in my culture where I'm from Virginia. We never said that because we thought babies were adorable. There's no way that you can look at a baby and talk negatively. I mean, that's the way I grew up. Like, if you had a negative thought, quickly get it out your head, or whatever the case may be. But you never was brave enough, or should have been brave enough, to go to that parent, that grandma, that auntie, that uncle, that dad, that mother, whoever in that family who thought that baby was all that in a bag of chips. You should never be brave enough to go to them and say nothing negative about their baby. So my homegirl, being from St. Louis, she knows who she is. I ain't gonna dime out. She said, when you see a baby that's not so, adorable, I'm gonna say it like that, but you know what I mean. You say, "Oh, isn't he precious?" And this is before the movie Precious came out. Well, isn't she precious? Okay, precious in itself, that word itself is a pleasant name. It's a disarming name. It's a pure name. It speaks to beautifulness. Adorable thing. It's a good name. It's a good word. I'm going to say not name, but word. But precious is a word you use from her point of view for lack of any other words that would sound appeasing to the parent or whoever you're saying it around. So precious was her way of not lying and saying, this baby is cute, this baby is adorable, this baby is whatever. She'll just say precious. And she put it under that big macro umbrella of goodness. Because precious, you think goodness, right? So it's under this umbrella of goodness. Rather than to say, okay, and not say anything. Because that would alarm that parent. You don't think much of my baby, which will make them feel a certain way, right? Adam Hurley, you're in the building this time of night. What's good with you? He said, what's going on? So when I heard her say this to me, I laughed because you often wonder, what do you say when somebody's shoving their baby in your face and showing you pictures after pictures after pictures, and you like, this baby ain't as adorable. Let me just say that. All babies are precious in the nice way. I'm saying in a nice way. But what do you say? And so I was like, what? So I was trying to wreck my brain to think, did anybody ever come at me like that? And I thought about it and I was like, nah, they didn't. Everybody was very descriptive of my kids and talked about what was so beautiful about them. And of course, like I told you, I would say nothing less than my daughter was beautiful. But somebody who don't have that bond like I do to her, what would they say? And they always was like, oh, can I keep her? Can I do her hair? Can I do this? You know, that's the feedback I got, right? It didn't matter if it was a white person, a man or a woman, black, Asian, you name the race. People was like in awe when they came up on my baby. Even into toddlerhood and adolescenthood and pre-puberty and all that stuff. You know, it just gets weird after they're like a full-fledged teenager to be talking about how cute or adorable your kid is. That gets weird at that point. But up until that point, always, you know, like they got to stop me in the store and tell me how adorable or cute or whatever. Mostly it was about my daughter's hair. She had some long ass hair. But anywho, that's what you would say. You would say a word that's general. Put everything, make that word be so general, but like make it a pleasant word to describe everything. You know, if you say fundamentally sound, when you're talking about Errol Spence, we know that there's several fundamentals in boxing. If you ever been a coach of boxing, or it's several fundamentals in everything that you can think of. You know, there's fundamentals in how to teach. There's fundamentals in playing football. There's fundamentals and guess what? In any of these things, you have to learn the fundamentals in order for you to then take your style, add it to the fundamentals, tweak a little things here and there, and make it snazzy or jazzy, right? Well, that's kind of how boxing is as well. So when people give him that compliment, I don't think it's a compliment. And I'm going to get into it and let me go on. As I say, he can't change. He is who he is. And I've been tired of this explanation for a long time now. But like I said, it seemed like the Errol fans, it's like their life depend on it in making this point. I actually secretly was hoping that they would stop saying it because it sounds crazy. Little do Errol fans know it is a backhanded compliment to him. But the talking point caught got caught up in the echo chamber, and it was repeated over and over again. And here's how I'm going to explain it. First off, fundamentally sound, as explained by Errol Spence Jr. fans, is a way for them to explain that he is A, an elite fighter, B, he does everything well and excellent, and C, he knows to perfection if you can ever be perfect, because we all do know there's no such thing. But as perfect as we can all be, he knows to perfection every fundamental in boxing, and he's mastered it. And this is why, by their accounts, he can't be beaten. And y'all know I'm right. Y'all hear people say it all the time. He's fundamentally sound. And then they say, we all know. No, we don't all know. I know that was a talking point that caught flight, and I'm not participating in that talking point. Because if I'm going to say something about Errol, I'm going to try to say something factual. When I do pick on Errol, as everybody know, I show that picture of the Nutcracker, and I'll say, I'm picking now. I'm picking. But I'm not going to me, this is an insult. WJ Luckett is in the building. Salute Queen T. Fundamentally sounds better than saying basic, but those words are synonymous. WJ, you be thinking like me too. Yeah, because that's what he is. That's what I was going to end with. He didn't get through the chase. He got to the end. He's basic. But yeah, I feel you, WJ. That's exactly. It sounds better. So now let's get into the ABC of what I just said. A, being an elite fighter. What say you? I say yes. He's an elite fighter. Cool? Is all the Errol fans still with me? Are they cool with that? B, he does everything well and excellent. What say you? I say no. I say no. Errol fans, are you still with me? C, he knows to perfection as much as anybody can be perfect. Every fundamental in boxing. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. And his fans know I'm not telling a lie. They put fundamentals under one umbrella in a macro sense, instead of pointing out things in a micro sense. Remember, I gave you the example of the baby. When people would come up to me and say my daughter was cute, they talked about specific things. Look at their hair. Look at them walnut eyes. Look at those little cute lips in the nose, and they would go on and on and on. Micro sense, meaning basically be specific. They didn't just come and say she's precious and leave it right there. Precious how? And I'm telling you, there's people out there, so y'all be leery who got kids and stuff. There's people out there that will tell you your baby precious, and it really means something else. I'm just telling y'all. Not everybody. Don't beat nobody up because it wasn't like that. That's not what we meant on the East Coast, where I'm from, Virginia. We didn't mean that shit. But, I told you my friend was if she listening, I'm sorry. But I had to let them know I needed an example. So we know the difference between macro and micro. Micro is when you're being more specific. You're pointing out something that we all can see, because we all, whether you like Errol Spence or not, watch his fights. So you can point out something that he does specifically, and I can be like, yeah, that's Errol. That's Errol, all right. But you rather put it under a macro umbrella where you really can't point to shit. And as WJ says, sound better than saying basic. But I'm here to tell you, that is a problem. That is a big problem. Why is it a problem? Because it leads to his fans, a lot of them, not all, being delusional and not making great assessments. I mean, some of the things that I've heard, I've been like, you got to be shitting me. Now, I'm a story break right here. I was arguing with my friend. He wanted to tell me that Terence Crawford didn't make $10 million when he fought David Avenese, because there's a such thing as receipts, and you need to show receipts. And I said, if you Google it, it will tell you that. Number one, he reported, Terence Crawford himself reported he was going to get paid $10 million. Even Broner was talking about he was supposed to get $10 million, for fighting, but we all know that Broner stuff fell through. But BLK themselves, the people who were paying him, said that was true. That they are paying him $10 million. Bob Arum said it. A lot of people over there that should have credibilities, Judah Harlan, alluded or outright said, yeah, that's true. But Errol fans, because they believe their press clippings and just can't accept the fact that somebody would do better than Errol, made him delusional. And like my friend said, he got to show receipts. I said, what kind of receipts? Google it. I'm thinking he talking about what we normally see, because none of us are in the bed with none of these fighters and living with these fighters or any kin to these fighters and seeing their bottom line and seeing into their bank account and got their passcode to their bank accounts. None of us have that privilege to absolutely confirm this shit. So we have to take them at their word. We have to take what is reported. When Dan Raphael or Mike Carpenter write a report talking about what the fighter's going to get in their purse, their guaranteed purse, that came from somebody. It could have came from PBC or Steven Espinoza or the fighter themselves, or whoever, the other promoters, Bob Arum, Oscar, Eddie Hearn. Somebody told somebody, and that's why it made the news. And all fighters do this. But Terence Crawford, in his eyes, need to pull out some tax forms. He literally said this, I bullshit you not. He literally said he need to show it on his tax form, show more proof. Who is going to do that? So I asked him, where's Earl's proof? Oh, Earl, because Earl said it. I'm like, where's his proof? My point is, why do you put a standard on Terence Crawford that you're not putting on Earl or nobody else? Whenever they say what their purse is, none of us is close enough to them to actually see with our own eyes. We can only take what is reported, what they allow us as the boxing community and public to see. And this man could not wrap his head around that. This is a smart guy. This is my homie, for real, my ace boon cool. But he is so into Earl that he will say such a thing. That's why I say it becomes a problem. Because fundamentally sound can mean any and everything to them. But like WJ say, instead of calling him basic, because that don't sound too good, you got to say fundamentally sound. Errol Spence doesn't execute fundamentals well. And we're talking some of the basic ones. Not all. He does some that's well. And he don't do well in others. We have seen him try. I'm going to give you a basic one. How many times you seen Errol Spence's legs or wide apart? Now, I can tell you all day, I've trained boxers. I am a boxing coach. That's what I consider myself is to be. I haven't in a while because COVID kind of messed all them boxing gyms up over here where I live. I concentrate more on children from approximately 8 years old to 17. I do work with grown men and grown women, but my boxing coaching is mostly with children. These are children who are just coming off the street raw, don't know shit about boxing, and we train them in the fundamentals. Hell, if I was a teacher, I would teach fundamentally first. When I'm on my job, I learn the fundamentals of my job. Everything you do in this life, you're going to start off with the fundamentals. So I teach, i.e., the basics, right? And we move up accordingly. You have to show a boxing coach that you're worthy to get in the ring, just even spar. Even if the coach is just working on something with you, like you see the mitts, or you hitting that, with that thing that they be wearing and be hitting in the stomach and all that, whatever you doing, the noodles or whatever, we won't even let you get to that point until you can show us some basic fundamentals. Now, every coach can run that gym however they want, but I'm gonna get into what's basic about combat sports, fighting, or whatever in a minute. There are several fundamentals to learn in the sport of boxing, and typically you wouldn't even be allowed to spar, not alone get in the ring, whether you're an amateur or a pro, without showing some sort of mastery of the basic fundamentals. That's what I was just saying. Everything is a process. Even without being conditioned, you can't even get in the ring. You can't do a lot of shit in boxing if you don't even first show that you are conditioned. If you're not conditioned, you can't elevate to the next level in boxing, or like I said, get in the ring. So let's talk about these three things that we just know, and everybody can agree on this. You don't play boxing. Let me say that again. You don't play boxing. You might play football. You might play basketball. You might play hockey, golf, baseball. But you don't play boxing because of the risk to your health and well-being, including your life. You don't play this sport. It is a sport. It is entertainment. And there do be events put on like the one that's going down tonight. But you don't play it. No one is perfect. But you always work and strive for perfection. Now, Mayweather makes a joke. Ain't nothing perfect in this world but my boxing record. I have to laugh because it's true, but it's not true. Because if Mayweather was still boxing today, professionally, would he have a perfect record? Think about it. The object of the game is to hit and not get hit. In lines the fundamentals, because you trying to hit without getting hit. I got a question, and here's the crust of it. Name me one elite boxer that is not fundamentally sound. I repeat, name me one elite boxer that is not fundamentally sound. You can't do it. You can't name a boxer that's elite and not fundamentally sound. There will be ones you can describe macroly and ones microly. But if you're doing your fighter a service, you might want to be microly with it. ATL Unanimous Boxing Sports is in the building. Said, what you doing up? Hey, I just finished working, ATL, and I couldn't sleep. So since I ain't do a show in the last couple of days, I said, let me squeeze this out. I'm not doing on the panel or none of that today. I'm just doing this short. Because this need to be explained, because not that it's going to matter for the fight tonight, but I'm going to show y'all what y'all was backhanded backhandedly complimenting Errol Spence. I just thought I should share with you. Errol Spence is not mackerly. He's not. You can't put, he's fundamentally sound. And it's probably, I'm going to throw a number to it, but I don't know. 20 fundamentals in boxing that everybody must learn. It's probably more than that, to be honest. But to say he's fundamentally sound, well, we all know no, we don't all know. I know that that's a talking point. And I know that that's a backhanded compliment. I don't see how Earl never saw it like that. I don't see how his fans never picked up on that. As WJ said, sounds better than saying basic. You can't call Crawford basic at all. You can't call Kell Brook basic. You can't call Sean Porter basic. Most people that Errol Spence fought, in fact, all his opponents, all Bud opponents, you cannot call them basic. You cannot call them basic. But you could call Earl basic. But here's the thing. Even with him being basic, he the motherfucking bomb.com, right? He's an elite fighter. I just said earlier, he's an elite fighter. Now imagine if he could do the things that complete fighters could do. Where would he be in this atmosphere? He's an elite fighter. I'm gonna give him that for real. But he does it basic. It's kind of like if you look at Pacquiao, I would never train a boxer to say, look at Pacquiao, just look at his tapes. Now go emulate that. Go imitate that to the letter. Hell no. Pacquiao do so many things wrong as a boxer, but it works for him. There's always that. You can be basic, you can do things wrong, and you can be a complete fighter, but it works for you. That's a wrinkle too. But we're not talking about that. I'm just saying, telling the world and keep saying it as a talking point. Maybe some of us buddies should have told the Spence fans, you kind of giving him a backhanded compliment. But we let y'all have it. And y'all ran that shit in the ground. So he's not mackerly. He's not a fundamentally sound boxer, as y'all like to say. And you want me to point out why I know this? Why sure, Miss T pointed out. I'm glad y'all asked. His stance, his legs, how wide they be at times during his fights. You're never supposed to do that. He pulls straight back. How many times we seen that? Never supposed to do that. He leans forward. How many times we see him do that? He's flat-footed. Shouldn't be flat-footed. You front foot dominant. You don't know how to fight on his toes. That's why we say he's flat-footed. Now, some of these things he probably do in practice or have done in his life. But when he get on this stage, he doesn't do these things. So I can say this stuff. He don't fight on his toes. This is one I added, and a lot of y'all might not agree with, but he results to low blows. A fundamentally sound fighter would never have to do that, but he does. Y'all know he does. Y'all know I say he does. And I've shown videos after videos. Anybody who watch her, I ain't the only one that's saying it. But I'm going to move past that. We're going to hope that he don't do that tonight. He don't fight well on the back foot. I've seen him try to fight on the back foot. He's not good at it. At all. He could get lucky. You know, anything could happen. But for him to run that back, and run that back, fighting back on the back foot, nah, you need to never do that. and he don't faint a lot. He keep his head on the line. These are all fundamentals. And fundamentals are things you build up from. I'm going to go back and give you my definition of fundamentals. Fundamentally sound. I'm going to tell you what that definition, how I would say it. You can say it how you want. You can explain it how you want. King Cena is in the building. What's poppin', King? He said Errol Spence gonna look real bad tonight. Said Crawford in 5. So fundamentally sound is when you have skills or technical, whether they be technical or not, that is learned or taught in the field of fighting that transcends all combative fields necessary to have A, an advantage, B, leverage, and C, help with or destroy your opponent. To help you destroy your opponent. Help you win a fight or destroy your opponent. Because we know, like I said, we don't play boxing, but we do offer it as a sport, as well as mixed martial arts and UFC and all that good stuff. These are offered as a sport, as entertainment, but these are not sports that anybody can do or that you just play. If you ain't supposed to be there, you don't take your ass up in there, because it could mean your life. But fundamentally sound means somebody taught you or you learning skills that it don't have to be technical, but it's something you learn in the field of fighting that's going to transcend all fighting genres. That's going to help you A, have advantage, B, leverage, or it's going to help you win or destroy your opponent. If you could make a list of fundamentals, what would yours be? Starting from your most important, meaning 1, 2, 3, whatever. I know for me, my first one on the list is going to be your stance. It's going to be your stance. The second one is going to be foot position. Now, ain't that funny? We talking boxing, and you can't use your legs or your feet, per se, to hit your opponent. You can only use your hands. But the most important thing in boxing is your legs and your feet. Matter of fact, I would dare say all combative fields. The most important thing is your legs and your feet. And the third one is hand position. How you holding your hands. It's a certain way you got to do this. The elite people make everything seem seamless and easy, but it's a lot of steps to everything you do. When I train boxers who have never trained in boxing, I'm taking these kids off the street, even the 17-year-old ones that I've had a guy in there. His mom put him in there because he was just acting bad. He had no act right. And he was always getting in fights, getting kicked out of school, whatever. And she was tired of shit, so she put him in boxing. So he came in there, and I kept telling him, because I'm nice, I'm very nice. I said, you have to ball your fists up properly. This is just a basic fundamental that anybody in any kind of combat fighting should know. I mean, this is going to seem silly to you guys when I say it. I had to tell this little 17-year-old that been kicking ass and taking names and getting in trouble and getting kicked out of school how to properly ball up his fists. And he did it, and then he won't because he's not used to it. So I was like, dude, I'm going to make you hold your arms up in the proper stance for like 15 minutes straight. And I'm just let you throw your arm out with the fist balled up properly. He couldn't even last. Because a lot of people don't know that the average person out the street, you got about a good 20 between 20 and 30 seconds of standing on your feet, throwing your hands. After that, you laying down on the nigga. You wrestling and shit. It's hard to stand on your feet and handle business. Very hard. A lot of people don't think that, or they don't know that. He didn't think so neither. And the way he was fighting, I was like, I could tell you fighting people that don't know shit about fighting, because here I am. I call myself an old lady to a 17-year-old. I'll beat your ass, and you a boy. So I was telling him that. He didn't believe it. So then I went from that to like, let me just let him throw the mitts. I was making him throw the punches hard. It was hurting my hand, I ain't gonna lie. Then I made him get on the heavy bag, and I said he gonna hurt his hand in a minute. Right? So then after he finished hitting this heavy bag, I get in there and I was swinging at him. I said, you better not hit me in the face, But like we was just, imitating what you do, like how you back up, slip or whatever, move your head, basic stuff. And when I would throw mines, I threw it at his front of his hands. I threw it to hit his hands. And sure enough, before the night was over, ouch, Miss T. What? What you ouching about? We took his hands off, his gloves off. His hands was beat red, and this was a dark-skinned guy. Mark Nash is in the building. He said, what up, family? He said, Vegas is lit. I bet it is, Charlie. You know why? You know why I did that? Because I have been telling him for days, ball your fists up properly. There's a proper way to do it. If you don't, you're going to break your fingers. If you don't have fingers, you ain't got hands to throw. I knew by him hitting the bag real hard and then me just throwing my fist at his hands with gloves on that I was going to hurt him. I didn't break nothing, but he was beat red. And he didn't come the next day to work out. He came back the next day. But it didn't take about a week and a half for him to quit. But at least he left there knowing he don't know shit about fighting. He can get his ass kicked easy. Now this is a young boy. Again, I'm a woman. A 17-year-old boy could probably beat me up. And I mean, he has 17-year-old boy power. But when he was shadow boxing or boxing at me, and I'm slipping and showing what I want him to do and showing him how to properly stands, I would grab his shirt and throw him to the side. Why? Because he wouldn't stand right. It's the little things, y'all. So I told y'all my top three: stance, foot position, hand position. Okay, that would be my top three. But overall, I just wanted to say, thank Errol sexuals or Errol fans, not all, have done him a disservice by giving him this backhanded compliment. No matter what happened, win, lose, or draw tonight, y'all should stop insulting our intelligence, because most of us are pretty true boxing fans. But stop giving him the backhanded compliment. Errol Spence claim to fame was sparring Mayweather. I've never seen him in a fight that he can't beat, that he wasn't going to beat the people. Except 2 fights. All his fights, I knew he was going to win. It was evidently clear. They were not on his level. And the 2 people I'm going to name, damn right, Porter and Brooks. Bud fought them too and did a better fashion. But again, I heard that all today. I was working. When I did take time off this week, I was trying to play catch up with some of the, because I never do catch the media thing, the weigh-in, all that shit as it's happening. I got to come back and look at it and all that stuff. But yeah, that and doing the work that I was doing. Like I said, I just finished working. I couldn't go to sleep right away. So I said, let me go over here and make this video, because I've been wanting to talk about it. And I said, is it better for me to talk about this now, before the fight, or after the fight? Because if I talk about it after the fight, people gonna, be like, whatever. Especially if you win, like, bitch, whatever. You just still hating. You can't get to do the side. So I said, I'm going to say it before the fight. This is what I see. This is what I've always seen. Nobody can deny what I've just said. If you don't believe, like I gave y'all the perfect example of what a backhanded compliment is. If you don't believe, it's not a compliment, number one. But it's meant to give the facade of complimentary. But it's not a compliment by no means. I just ran down the list of things that he don't do well, and shit, that's the basic tenements of boxing. How you gonna be in boxing and you pull straight back? Who taught you that? Who taught you that? People say that all the time. How you don't have the proper stance? Why is your legs wide? Who taught you that? Why do you lean forward? You don't know how to be deceptive. Have you ever really watched Floyd Mayweather's or other people's fights in slow motion? Like with Conor McGregor was throwing punches at Floyd and it would miss by like an inch. But Floyd knew that he knew the distance and the time. The timing. So why are you leaning forward? There's a way to do that where you look to your opponent like you leaning forward, but you're really not. He hasn't mastered that. And somebody who's elite should master that. Boxing equals success with best pugilist. Greetings, sis. What's poppin', King? Flat-footed. I mean, come on now. That's the basics. That is boxing 101. And to not fight on your toes, which he doesn't. I'm not saying no lies about Errol Spence. Everybody in here know that is him. He don't faint. He don't do that hardly. And he keeps his head online. So, in a nutshell, y'all think about that the next time you say, we all know that Errol Spence is fundamentally sound. And answer the question that I pose to everybody. With respect. I'm not trying to disrespect nobody. But my question is, name me one elite fighter that's not fundamentally sound. So if that's Errol Spence's only claim to fame, that's all you can say about him, guess what? Crawford is fundamentally sound too. You can't be an elite fighter without mastering that. Basic fundamentals. But fundamentals have levels to it. They, when you start talking about counter and pull counter, check left, what you call it? Check hook or whatever. When you start getting, there's levels to it. Like on Floyd level. That's the GOAT. But Floyd definitely is fundamentally sound. A fundamental this nigga don't know. He knows shit that most boxers who think they fundamental think they know, and they really don't know. Like I said, flat-foot, I can't say that enough. The two that get me the most is a flat-foot pulling straight back and then wide leg stance. Yes, I coach boxing. And I have competed formerly in a combat sport. I used to take karate, martial arts. I placed third when I was a kid. I know the karate, I remember it, but hey, what I just say, you don't play that shit, you do it. I haven't done it since I was a child. And my sensei, you won't get in the next belt. Like a lot of these parents put their kids in karate just as an activity, something to do in the afternoon, 3 days a week. You know what I'm saying? Keep that little ass busy. I ain't have that kind of sensei. You wasn't doing nothing that you wanted to do until you showed him you was A, conditioned, and B, you knew the fundamentals. I remember me and my brother taking it, and our biggest complaint was like, I don't want to take this shit no more. Like after about 8-9 months. Because back in the day, who didn't look at the karate movies on the weekend? That was in everybody's weekend repertoire. Bruce Lee with whoever. I looked at them all. Every weekend I'm looking at karate on TV. That in the Western. But me and my brother was 8-9 months into the shit, and we was like, when we gonna kick? Shit, I don't want to do this shit. All we was doing is doing a proper stance, hitting, like learning how to punch up in the middle and down, and then get real fast with it. We was learning how to, like y'all talk about that snapping punch. We was learning that. I didn't know that's what we was learning, but we had to learn that shit. And from my memory, whenever we would snap the punch, to me it came from the shoulder. I don't know about nobody else. It wasn't like my back was throwing it or my whole arm. It was from my shoulder. It's like pop, make that DB making sounds and shit. But we had to run all kinds of shit. And we did our shit outside with no shoes at the park. And we would lay down and he would come and jump on our stomach. A grown ass man, I'm 11 years old. Jump on our stomach. And we knew it was coming. So we had to learn how to breathe with that. So that if we ever got punched in the stomach, we could take it or breathe with it. I don't know. He never really sat down and explained why he was showing us this, why he was showing us that, or why did we stay on punching for over 1.5 years before we can even get to the next belt. One day we showed up and he said, hey, we going to this school to do a demonstration. And my mom, we looked at my mom like, what the hell we about to do? We never practiced. He never told us. And that was the day that I broke a brick with my hand and broke boards with my hand and feet. Me and my brother, we was kids. He didn't never tell us. But all that shit he had been doing and teaching us how to snap on our punch and all that shit, he was practicing. He was grooming and building us to be able to do something. He was taking fundamentals and building it up. And then when we had Kumite, what they call fighting, me and my brother was the only kids in there. You understand? I was 11, he was 8. We were the only kids in there. And I promise you, he made us fight grown women. Like I had to fight grown women. And he put my brother in there with grown men. There won't no mercy. Won't no damn mercy. Them women was piecing my ass up. I was like, God damn. 11 years old, but I better not cry. If I cry, I can't do it no more. And I wanted to learn karate. But that wasn't no quick, fast, and the hair type karate. That was real. That was some real shit. Champion Heart is in the building. What's poppin', King? Says salute, box fans. Talk TV. Miss T, go to bed. I'll talk to you Sunday to hear your excuses. Spence by Stop It. Roy Jones fundamentals was trash. Much love and support. I'm out. And that's another thing. I said that too, so some of y'all missed that. However you fight, that's you. You're supposed to take them fundamentals, add your style, tweak it a little, but you should master the fundamentals, and make it your own. You understand? But you can't make it your own out of thin air. You got to make it your own from the basic concept of the fundamentals. I gave examples of these type fighters. Pacquiao, you will never, ever, ever teach anybody or coach anybody in boxing and say, look at Pacquiao, imitate him to the letter. Teach him. Teach your guy like he is. Pacquiao, it works for him. He do a lot of shit wrong. Great fighter, 8 division world champion, Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer. He do a lot of shit wrong. He will become Hall of Famer first ballot when he's up for it. If he ever really decides to retire. I think he is. But Pacquiao, that shit worked for him. Okay, it just plain as that. Errol Spence is basic, but it works for him. And Champion Hart, I'll see you Monday. I'm gonna give y'all a day's rest, but I'll be back Monday if I can't help myself. But I'll be back Monday to rub it in. I'm just when y'all get y'all little heart broke. But he gave a good example. Roy Jones do a lot of shit you just would not teach your fighter to do. But I bet you when Roy was just learning boxing, he didn't do that shit he do. Roy was athletic. He was just a phenom. How Roy did it, everybody Roy would try to teach to do it just like how he did, couldn't do it. Because that was just him. He put his stank on it. So in other words, learn your fundamentals and put your own stank on it. Errol Spence, y'all stop saying this man is fundamentally sound. Because y'all low-key being condescending and backhanded compliment. We see it. Y'all see it. Y'all need to become more creative in how y'all describe his attributes or whatever. He gonna get his ass whooped. But I just thought I'd say that before the fight. Because me saying it after the fight, if Crawford win, I'm just rubbing it into y'all. I'm just picking with y'all. And then if Earl win, what the fuck do I know? You know what I'm saying? So I say, hey, let me say this before the fight even go down. And now that I've said it, Champion Hart, I think I will take you up on your suggestion. I couldn't sleep, y'all. I've been up all night. I just finished working. Anyway, thank y'all for listening. Don't get butthurt out there, Earl sexuals and his fans. I don't mean y'all no harm and disrespect. I just found it weird and funny that y'all backhanded him. Y'all do backhanded compliments with him. And y'all don't even know y'all doing it. That's funny to me. But now you know that you're doing it, you should stop. Anywho, that's it for me and my Pamela James voice. Peace.